Hello everyone. So this is Kubernetes Unleashed. So it's a very interesting section and we are going to have some fun in the forthcoming lectures. So what is the agenda of this section? What is Kubernetes? And setting up Kubernetes on WSL2, which is Windows subsystem for Linux, which is basically a system that permits us to create a Linux environment within the Windows operating system without ever having a Mac OS or any other type of Linux distribution. All right, so next is core concepts and architecture, and then deploying applications and advanced concepts with tools and ecosystem coming next, and then real world applications. So what is Kubernetes? By definition, a short definition of Kubernetes, or K8S as it is popularly known, is an open source container orchestration platform. The history is that it was developed by Google and donated to CNCF, which is Cloud Native Computing Foundation. And it automates deploying, scaling, and operating application containers. Now, today we will explore Kubernetes from the basics to advanced concepts. Let's start with what Kubernetes is. Kubernetes, often abbreviated as K8S, as I just mentioned, is an open source platform designed to automate deploying, scaling, and operating application containers. It was developed by Google. Okay, and so next is, how do we set up Kubernetes on WSL2? Now, I will show it on my machine. So you'll have to open PowerShell as administrator. Anyway, I have got WSL2 installed. So let's see what it says. So I've got PowerShell as an administrator. Now this is WSL to install. WSL, actually this is dash and the two dashes have become just a single dash or hyphen. So WSS installer. So Ubuntu is already installed, launching Ubuntu. So WSL, it's already coming to the WSL mode. All right. Next is restart your machine to complete the WSL installation. That is for the first time, because now WSL doesn't need to be installed. It's already installed. I don't need to restart my machine. And supposing you are running a old Docker desktop version, then you have to open the Microsoft Store and install your preferred Linux distribution, for example, Ubuntu or any other Linux version or Linux version. Now, this step is not necessary, which I found because I updated my Docker desktop for Windows from this website, official Docker website, and I found that it is already integrated WSL2 within the Docker engine. All right. So what we are going to do, we have got two installation tools, Minikube and kubectl. And for configuration, we will initialize a cluster with basic commands and installations tools being Minikube and kubectl. So what is Minikube and kubectl? So Minikube, let's see what is the Minikube. Minikube is used to run a local Kubernetes cluster. It's primarily intended for development and testing purposes, allowing you to deploy and manage Kubernetes application on your local machine. The key features being, it creates a single node Kubernetes cluster on your local machine, and it supports various virtual machine drivers, works with different virtualization technologies like VirtualBox, Docker, Hyper-V, and it is ideal for experimenting with Kubernetes and testing deployments without needing a remote cluster. Whereas kubectl is the command line tool used to interact with Kubernetes clusters. It allows you to deploy and manage applications, inspect and manage cluster resources, and view logs. And its key features being in cluster management, it manages Kubernetes resources for example, pod services and deployments, and it also helps in namespace and context management, and it helps in deploying applications and manage scaling. So we'll see both of them in action in details.